What does it mean to live a good life? Is it about wealth, fame, or pleasure? For thousands of years, philosophers have grappled with this question, but few have offered an answer as timeless and practical as Aristotle. Today we're diving deep into the heart of his philosophy to explore ethics, virtue, and the ultimate goal of human existence, eudaimonia. Stick around because this isn't just an ancient philosophy lesson, it's a blueprint for a more fulfilling life. Let's start with the big word, eudaimonia. It's often translated as happiness, but that doesn't quite capture it. Think of it more like human flourishing or thriving. It's not a fleeting feeling of joy you get from eating a piece of cake. It's the state of living well and doing well over the course of a whole lifetime. It's the kind of deep, stable contentment that comes from realizing your full potential as a human being. So, how do we get there? According to Aristotle, the path to eudaimonia is paved with virtue. Now, when you hear the word virtue, you might think of someone who's just morally perfect and maybe a little boring. But for Aristotle, virtue is about excellence. A virtuous knife is one that cuts well. A virtuous doctor is one that heals effectively. A virtuous person, therefore, is someone who excels at being human. These excellences aren't things we're born with. They are character traits that we develop through practice and habit. Aristotle divides virtues into two categories: intellectual virtues and moral virtues. Intellectual virtues like wisdom and understanding are taught, but moral virtues, the ones we'll focus on like courage, temperance, and generosity, are developed through habit. You don't become courageous by reading a book about courage. You become courageous by facing your fears and acting bravely, time and time again. It's like learning to play the piano. You can't just read the sheet music. You have to sit down and practice making mistakes and correcting them until playing becomes second nature. In the same way, we become just by doing just acts, temperate by doing temperate acts, and brave by doing brave acts. Our character is the sum of our habits. But how do we know what the virtuous action is in any given situation? This is where Aristotle's famous concept of the golden mean comes in. He argued that virtue is a middle ground, or a mean, between two extremes, which he called vices. One vice is an excess, and the other is a deficiency. Let's take courage, for example. The person who has too little courage is a coward. They run from every danger. The person who has too much courage is rash or reckless. They rush into danger without thinking. The virtuous person, the courageous one, finds the golden mean. They feel fear, but they don't let it paralyze them. They assess the situation and face the danger when it's appropriate. This isn't a simple mathematical average. The mean is relative to us and to the situation. For a firefighter running into a burning building, the mean for courage is very different than it is for an accountant filing a tax return. Finding this mean requires practical wisdom, or what Aristotle called phronesis. It asks the ability to deliberate well about what is good and advantageous for life as a whole. It's the skill of seeing a situation clearly, understanding the stakes, and choosing the right course of action. This is the crucial link between thinking and doing. We use our reason, our deliberative ability, to identify the mean, and then we act, reinforcing the habit of virtue. Let's look at another example: generosity. The person who gives away everything they have, to the point where they can't support themselves or their family, is not generous, they're prodigal or wasteful. That's the vice of excess. On the other hand, the person who clings to every penny and never helps anyone in need is stingy or miserly. That's the vice of deficiency. The truly generous person finds the mean. They give the right amount, to the right people, at the right time, and for the right reasons. This requires careful judgment, not just a blind impulse to give. The same logic applies to almost every aspect of our lives. In our response to pleasure, the mean is temperance, while the excess is self-indulgence, and the deficiency is insensibility. In social interactions, the mean is friendliness, between being obsequious on one end and cantankerous on the other. In humor, the mean is wittiness, between buffoonery and boorishness. Life becomes a constant practice of navigating these spectrums, trying to hit the target of the mean. This is why deliberation is so important. Before we act, especially in a challenging situation, Aristotle encourages us to pause and think. What are my options? What are the potential extremes here? What would a virtuous person, a person I admire, do in this situation? This process of deliberation is how we exercise our rationality, which Aristotle believed was the unique function of human beings. By using our reason to guide our actions and build good habits, we are truly fulfilling our human purpose. So, let's bring it all together. The ultimate goal is eudaimonia, or human flourishing. We achieve this by living a life of virtue. Virtue is an excellence of character, a state of being that allows us to function at our best. We develop these moral virtues through habituation by consistently performing virtuous actions, and we identify the right action in any given situation by finding the golden mean between two extremes of excess and deficiency. The tool we use to find this mean is deliberation, or practical wisdom. This isn't a passive philosophy, it's a call to action. It tells us that the good life isn't something that just happens to us. It's something we actively create, day by day, choice by choice, habit by habit. It's a lifelong project. We will make mistakes. We will sometimes fall into the vices of excess or deficiency, but that's part of the process. The key is to keep practicing, to keep deliberating, and to keep aiming for that middle ground. Every time we choose patience over anger, generosity over stinginess, or courage over cowardice, we are taking a step on the path to eudaimonia. We are literally building our character and shaping ourselves into the best version of who we can be. Think about one area of your life where you could apply this. Maybe it's with your diet, finding the mean between overeating and restrictive dieting. Maybe it's in your work, finding the mean between lazy procrastination and burnout. Or maybe it's in your relationships, finding the mean between being a doormat and being overly aggressive. Aristotle's framework is incredibly practical because it applies everywhere. It empowers us by showing that we have control over the kind of person we become. The good life is within our reach, not through luck or divine favor, but through our own deliberate, habitual actions. So, the next time you face a difficult choice, take a moment. Deliberate. What are the extremes? Where is the golden mean? What action will help build the character you want to have? By making this a habit, you're not just making a good choice in the moment, you're investing in a lifetime of flourishing. You're walking the path of eudaimonia. Thank you so much for joining me on this philosophical journey today. If you found this exploration of Aristotle's ethics helpful, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content that explores the big questions of life. What are your thoughts on the golden mean? Let me know in the comments below. See you in the next video.